In this third and last video on extracting metadata from log files, especially extracting the dates from the log file names and then getting summarized information for that date, we actually start to fill in the number of files column. And we're still using break boundaries, but we're using them entirely differently. Remember, in the last video we set the break boundary memory variable equal to a bunch of x's. So we're going to get a break on the break boundary on the very first record. We're going to write out the first record using this if, and then we're not going to write out any more records for that date until we get a new date where we write out the first record of that date. In this case, we're reading in the log name, we're extracting the date, but we're setting the break boundary to the date. So the first record we don't get a break, but instead we go through to the else and just increment a variable that's keeping count of the number of log files, which is the metadata we wanted to get. And then we follow the old maxim of we don't know how far we can go until we've gone too far. When we get a break is when we read in the first record of the next date. And in that case we set the text equal to the break boundary, which is the memory of the old date. And we set the second variable equal to the file count, the number of log files we found, set to string. And we do this in a ListViewItem, ListViewSubItem, which means it's not the first column, it's the second, third, or fourth, or whatever column. And then we add this subitem to the ListViewItem. And then finally, once we've got both fields filled in, we add the ListViewItem to the actual ListView control on the screen. And we set the log file count to 1. And the reason we set it to 1 is we've already read in the record after the last date record that we're dealing with. And we, as usual, set the memory variable equal to the current date. But this, once again, is the date that we want to write out. So we're not writing out until we've gone too far. Basically, this is a matter of going to the record after the date and then writing the last record that had the date by using the memory variable. So if we compile and run this program, you see we get, once again, only individual dates rather than multiple dates, and now we get the number of log files that have that date. And if we look at the actual raw data containing the log file names, you notice this first date is repeated twice with an A and a B, so the 2 is correct. The next one is just once with an A, and we have a 1 for that, so that's correct. The next one is twice, so we've got a 2. And if we come down to here where we've got 4, we get a 4 in the count. So this essentially is working correctly. You know, the 3 is a 3, and the 4 that comes after it is a 4, and so on. So we are getting a correct count of the number of log files that have the same date. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot. It certainly goes into depth on break boundaries. And if you did learn a lot and enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe.